Okay, perfect. Okay, I believe we have our writing tools and everything ready because one more thing, I also noticed that nobody had said anything in the notes pool, the Adam assessment, but I imagine that's because we haven't exactly started the learning, but that's fine. However, going forward, we will have to be conscious of updating it and just filling it out. Like I said, we don't have a conventional assessment tool. That notes poll is our assessment poll. So it's going to allow me gauge where we are, where each of us are on our journey, where the emphasis might be, and even you personally, it can help you see where you are and guide you and help you identify the gaps and where you're going and just bring home the picture that you're moving in currently because life is a moving picture. You're just one of the characters in it, right? So it's going to be very important. So I'll be sure to update that and add it to the group chat as well, just so it's there. And I'm trusting that with time, we'll just find the rhythm that works. But I do know it's going to be a weekly thing. So not just once a week, but in the sense that we're I said both, we're each going to be required to just fill it in during the week as it goes. And as we dive into the lessons, it'll make even more sense. And now, with that being said, let us go into today's topic. So today we'll be dealing on what being is. I won't call it a definition because it's going to be more like a an explanation, and they both seem similar, but they're not. So a definition of this term is essentially going to sum it up and put it in a nice, pretty bowl, a nice, rather pretty package so that it makes sense, right? But an explanation is something that might expand on it, not just stop at a definition, but also make it plain, right? In order to bring it home. So that's what we'll be doing today. So first off, I'd like to say a quick prayer. I'd like to say a quick prayer, but one moment, please. I want to pause there for a bit. Okay, thank you so much for bearing with me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My apologies. So let's resume. Oh, was I still recording? All right. Okay, so being, I'm going to start with a definition of the term being. So being is an invisible rather presence. So it is an absent sight and rooted actuality at the same time. Please, if you can hear me, just indicate or drop a drop an emoji so that I can be sure that I'm very loud and audible. If you can hear me, just indicate. Hello. Okay, I think Annie said something in the chat. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Anita. Thank you. All right. So, being is an invisible presence. It is an absent sight and yet a rooted actuality. So, when when I introduced the course previously in last session, in our last meeting, I mentioned that we would be using what I call the curriculum of being. And once again, this is the Adam Academy. So it's not exactly the most advanced concept out there. When we think of the word being, I think of the verb to be. So I'm a huge fan of just the linguistics, the linguistic arts, especially English, right? So when I think of the verb to be, I think of its various conjugations. And please permit me to nerd out a bit here. And so when the Lord started to speak to me about being and all the various semantics that it apparently had, all the various technicalities that it apparently involved, it was rather interesting because I saw it as this elemental thing. I didn't even see it as an elemental thing. I saw it as this invisible thing. Because when we think of the verb to be, I think of, okay, I am, you are, they are, she is, he is. So you see how the verbs, oh, I think I was disconnected for a bit there, but thank God that's over. Let me go back and start reshare my screen so that it makes sense. Okay, that's better. So when I think of being, I remember when the Lord first spoke to me, he said, I have called you to be. And in that dream, I woke up. And what came to me was that, okay, I may have forgotten the latter part of that sentence because you don't just say, I have called you to be. I mean, there has to be something. I had already grown accustomed to attaching, be it a noun of perhaps a career or a personality, a role, a job to the end, to the preceding, no, to the succeeding part of that word. So anytime I saw the verb be or the word be, I just automatically assumed that there had to be something that followed after it. I never once thought of it as something that could stand on its own. I never once thought of it as something that was already whole. So that day I woke up from that dream and essentially he said, I have called you to be. And I woke up, I was like, maybe, when you sometimes lose parts of your dream and you think, okay, there has to be something. And I had even managed to convince myself that he mentioned a name. because the day before I had prayed this specific prayers, and my mentor had told me, oh, the Lord says that you're Deborah, you're this, you're that. So I figured, because again, I woke up and there was this specific song that just wouldn't leave my heart. And I figured, pardon me, please, I have sore throats and I'm just recovering. So there was this particular song that just wouldn't leave my heart. And the song was in line with the whole Deborah war themed princess vibes. And I just thought, he definitely meant to say, I have called you to be a Deborah, right? Wrong. It wasn't until a few weeks later I decided to actually bring it back to God and ask him, what do you mean by I've called you to be Deborah? And he had mercy on me enough to show me that he didn't say be anything. He simply said to be. So when you look at that word being, it is not about anything that you think you can attach at the end of it or after it. Being is a wholeness itself. So it is an intangible source reality that at the same time is perceived, it is still felt, and only in the experiencing of it do you get to see it. So it is not something that is first seen. It is never seen first. It is not something that you can touch first. It is not something that is first tangible. It has nothing to do with the career or your output first. It has nothing to do with your performance first. It has nothing to do with how many likes or how many clicks you got on your uploads. It has nothing to do with how many promotions you got in the past 10 years of your career in corporate. It has nothing to do with doing. It has nothing to do with the actions and the metrics that we are used to. It has absolutely nothing to do with that. That is why I said it is an intangible source reality. And then the latter part of that sentence, I mentioned that it is then perceived or felt in order to be seen. Now, it sounds like a paradox, because first I say it is an intangible thing, so I can't touch it, I can feel it, I can see it. So then how do I even confirm that it's there? That's the problem. We are not to approach it as something that you can confirm. For instance, if there's a McDonald's, if there's a branch of McDonald's down the street, or if there's a branch of KFC down the street or ShopRite down the street, but we happen not to be aware of it, the fact that we do not know about it does not negate the truth of its existence. So we may not have heard of it, we may not have come across it, we may not even have seen it. In fact, we may be living under the notion that there's no such thing as a KFC branch in this area where I stay. But that does not negate it. So being is not merely a concept, but it is the word. If I had to define and explain it, it is that all-encompassing wholeness that doesn't just talk about your output, that doesn't just talk about all the things you manage to get done on your to-do list, or all the achievements and successes that you manage to, count and add to your name by reason of, okay, I graduated at 22, I I went for my postgraduate degree at, you know, Harvard, and I finished with, the honors and all of that, and I got awarded with like 6 awards while I was in school. And my dad is the president of this very important council, global council on all things economy and XYZ metrics. It is not all about the outward, because man looks at the outward, but at the same time, it does not negate the importance of the outward. When we go back to that McDonald's example I gave, you may not have known that there was a branch of it close to your house, but it doesn't change the fact that it's there. And so the day you manage to come across it. So let's say a friend comes over and visits you, and then the friend says, I know you just moved over here. I know you just moved to this area, but why don't we just go for a walk and then let's take this route and see where it leads us? And you, to your shock, you're like, I never knew this was here. See, the fact that you discovered it that day does not change the facts, does not change the truth that it existed long before you took cognizance of it. So when you go for the certification exams, when you measure and compare, oh, I should be married by now. Oh, I should have kids by now. Oh, I should have acquired properties, landed properties in at least two countries of the world by this age. Oh, I should have started earning X amount of figures, whether it be 9 or 17 figures, I don't care. I should have started earning X amount of figures by this age. All those numbering, all those validation, all those metrics, whether or not you have those currently, whether or not you can see them, it does not change the truth of the value you possess within. Now, there's a balance because the latter part of that sentence said, while it is an intangible source reality. So this intangible bit, the source reality bit, is the bit that is contained within. It is the bit that is not necessarily seeing or tangible. When something is tangible, you can touch it, you can feel it, you can squeeze it, you can measure it. They can run up to you and look you up on Wikipedia and see all the impressive awards you've garnered by the young age of 17, or you made it, somehow made it to Forbes 40 under 40, and you broke this Guinness World Record, and you're just the business. You are the everything person. You're the person your parents look at, and the kid's grown because, oh God, my mom is going to compare me to this person. So it's not about just that. It's not about the outside parts, but at the same time, it's not solely about the inside. It's about a unison of both that comes in a package. But note, it is not seen first. It is not seen first. I hope I'm still audible. I hope I'm still audible. So it is not seen first, never seen first, meaning you can't perform, act, or do, what we Nigerians call, oh, wow. So I haven't been audible for a while. How long ago did my voice, okay, I was, okay, so I suppose it phased out for a bit. Thank you, Anita, thank you. I'll just continue then. So being is not seen first, and it is never seen first. So it's not about the performance, right? In corporate, we call it just performance metrics or key performance indicators, KPIs. It's not about that. It's not about the actions. It's not about your doing. In Nigeria, we say eye service. You can't eye service your way into it. So it's not because of the result or side effects. You see young people these days, and there's nothing wrong with ambition or drive and all of that. But you see young people these days, they don't care about the inside, about the content of the person. They just want to see the bling, the success indicators that apparently take crown these days. Do you have the car? Do you have the fancy tech? Do you have the wigs? Do you have the husband and children by 25? Do you have the massive house? Excuse me, please. Do you have it all? They want to see it. So being is not something that is first seen. Never. Because again, it is not something you can perform, act, or do. It is not something you can tell God, oh, not something you can tell God that, oh, you know what? I'm going to fake it till I make it. You will burn out. It is not sustainable. You will hate your life eventually. It doesn't matter how tenacious you are. Taking that route, it might be effective, yes. But what do you stand to lose? You lose you lose what made you you. You lose your personality. You lose your soul in it. And I will go into more detail there, but I just wanted to emphasize it, right? So just to recap, I mentioned words like I emphasized on words like, invisible, absence, and presence. So the initial definition I gave is that being is an invisible presence. So something that is present and yet not seen. First, and then it is an absent sight. So that means that it is a manifestation. It is an evidence. It is proof that comes from that initial invisibility. So there is a presence you carry within. There is a competence. There is a character. There is values. There's principles that are housed within you that are intrinsic, that birth the sight. And then I said it is a rooted actuality. So you don't just pop up into the scene. Nobody just comes into the scene. I remember this movie. Should I call it a series? It's not exactly a series, but yeah. It's called Prophet Suddenly. And in it, one of the ministers in it will usually say, he that appears suddenly will disappear suddenly. Somebody doesn't just pop up in the industry, perhaps in the music industry, and they just blow up. They don't just, there's no such thing as overnight fame. If you look closely, there has to have been some evidence, some backlog, some background of work, of sacrifice, of showing up, of being there, of building up until it gets to a point, the root that is spread in the soil because it has become so strengthened, because it has clung to enough of dirt and soil and done enough, I don't want to call it grunt work because it, well, yeah, because it has done enough of that, it then shoots up from the soil. When you think of seeds that fall to the ground, that is how it works. The tree, a tree, every seed first grows downward before it grows upward. I want to draw a diagram. I'm so glad I decided to use this whiteboard today. Oh, don't mind my drawing. No. So this is a tree. This is our tree. This is our beautiful tree. Very lovely tree. One moment, please. And then let me use another color. Sorry, let me use let me use the color of dirt. Let me use brown. Yeah, I'll use brown. And then this is the soil. This is the soil. This is the tree, right? And then let's go under the soil. Then these are the roots. Oh, I should have used smaller pen. That's better. The smaller nib. So these are the roots, right? These are the roots. Notice that underneath the soil, it looks just like the tree above, the tree here, but then it just looks reversed. So while this part, the part that you don't see, the part that is underneath, that is beneath, the intrinsic part, while it grows downward, this part grows upward. This part goes upward. So the deeper these roots here are, one moment, please. So the deeper these roots here are, the higher this ones above can get. And so that is what I meant by being is an invisible presence and an absent sight, and yet rooted actuality. So it'll get clearer as we go. Jesus Christ, my throat. So far, before we proceed, I just want to ask, and make sure there are no questions. In fact, no, I want to make sure there are questions. I want questions. Person your parents. Well, you can't see the screen. 2035. Okay, you can see it now. Lovely. Okay, so I want questions. I want questions. I want questions. I missed the explanation. Oh no. Okay, we'll do that. We'll do that. Grace, were you able to get the explanation at least? Anita, I will get back to that in a moment. Grace, are you there? Grace?
Yes, yes, please, I'm here.
Okay,
Yes, I was able to get it. So,
okay. Please share with us first. Can you hear me, Grace? Grace? Grace, if you can hear me, please unmute and share with us. I was able to get it
okay,
fluctuating. Okay, just share
please,
what you were
yes,
able
but
to get.
it was okay. What I got was you talking about the being is an invisible presence
Mm,
and absence of sight. I didn't really get the rest of the part.
okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. So what I'll do is that I'll stop the meeting here, and then I'd like us to please join again, and I'll start all over. I'll start all over, and I know the second time is even going to be better. So please be sure to rejoin when we do that. Is that fine with us? Is that fine with us? Okay. Okay. Thumbs up. Thank you. So I shall stop recording now.